Here is an order requiring 22 tons of this product mix containing these grades. Each grade has a minimum and maximum percentage allowed within the mix. Here's where Solver will determine what that percentage is. These percentages are driven by the value in cell F8, which is cost of goods sold for the order. We know to maximize profits, minimize cost of goods sold. Here is current inventory of these grades. So grade A currently has 2 tons in inventory. There's a negative $10 per ton. This is an example of a product that the customer pays us to take off their hands. Here's a neutral grade C. We don't pay anything for it. The customer doesn't give us anything to take it from them. Here's a grade E where we pay $7 a ton. I'm going to try and solve this problem on my own through trial and error. To do that, I'll start with the least expensive product. After all, if I could fill the entire order with the least expensive product, I would be minimizing cost of goods sold and maximizing profit. So I'll start with grade A, and here's a constraint. I can only fill this order with 10% of grade A. So I'll immediately type in 10%. Here's the calculated tonnage, 2.2 tons. Well, it's in red. I've put some conditional formatting in here to show that I've exceeded the tons in inventory. So I can play around with this and type 9%, but then I'm not quite at 2 tons. So I'll pull out the calculator and I'll ask, what is 2 divided by 22? What's the maximum percentage I can put in here? And I get 9% and 0.9 repeating decimal. So I'll go back here, 9.0909, and come up with the 2 tons. Now I move on to the next least expensive grade, which is grade C. I'll try and front load all 50% there. I do so, and I've exceeded the amount in inventory. So again, I'll pull out the calculator. What is 3 divided by 22? And I come up with 13.63 repeating. 13.63 repeating percentage. There's almost my 3 tons. I'll leave it as it is for now. Good enough for now. Move on to the next least expensive, grade E. Try and front load full 25%. And hey, I have not exceeded inventory. It comes out to 5.5 tons. Well, I have 9 tons in inventory. I'm okay there. Move on to the next. That's grade B. Try and front load that. No, I've exceeded inventory, so again, I'll pull out the calculator. What is 4 divided by 22? I come up with 18.18 repeating percentage. 18.18 repeating. There's my 4 tons in inventory. So far, the summation arrives at 66%. I only have 1 grade left. This must be 34%. Type it in. I've achieved 100%, haven't exceeded inventory in that last grade. I'm almost at 22 tons, good enough for trial and error, which is almost at 22 tons needed for the order. And my COGS is at $140.26. I'm going to save this as a scenario. On the Data tab, drop down on What If Analysis, Scenario Manager, click Add. I'm going to call it Peter's Trial and Error. By changing which cells, D3 through D7, the very same cells that Solver is going to change. Press OK. Verify the numbers, press OK. Now I have 2 scenarios. I created one earlier called Blank Slate. I can double click on it, or I can click on it and click Show, and I'm at the blank slate. Click on Peter's Trial and Error. These are the numbers that we saw previously. Let's close this. Now let's use Solver. Oh, before I do that, I'll go back to What If Analysis and go back to Blank Slate. Now let's use Solver. I pre-populated this. The objective is to set COGS to a minimum. Well, COGS is in F8. Set it to a minimum. by changing which variables? D3 through D7. Here's a brief explanation of the constraints. Let's take D3. D3, the percentage for grade A, must be less than or equal to C3, which is the maximum allowed for grade A, 10%, and it must be greater than or equal to B3, which is the minimum required, which is 5%. And you do that for D4 through D7 also. Then we get to D8. Well, D8 is the total percentages. That must equal 1 or 100%. Here's your inventory constraints. E3, which is the tons of grade A, has to be less than or equal what we have in inventory, which is B12. And you do that for the other grades. And then finally, E8, which is the total tons, must equal to G12, which is the tons needed for the order. Set the solving method to simplex LP, press solve. Solver, put in all of the numbers that quickly. Its buy price, or COGS, it came up with a little higher than what I did, but that's just due to rounding errors. I can save this as a scenario to prove this. I can go to what if analysis again and save it as a scenario, or Solver provides a handy little shortcut here, the save scenario button. I'll press on it, and I'll call this Solver simplex LP. And press OK. Press OK, close. Let's go to what if analysis, scenario manager. Here's Peter's trial and error. $140.26 cost of goods sold. Didn't quite make the 22 tons. Let's click on Solver simplex LP. Solver came up with exactly 22 tons. The buy price, the COGS, is really what it should be, $140.50. So Solver's answer is better. Solver's answer is perfect. I'll close this. Solver told us what we need to fill the order and achieve maximum profitability. We need 2 tons of grade A, 4 tons of grade B, etc. Now that we've proven Solver, we can easily change our constraints. When the new order comes along, type in the new order number, the new tons needed, specify whatever we currently have in inventory, go to Solver, press solve, and Solver comes up with the answer.